Dr. Alina Serrano had spent half her life chasing mysteries older than humanity itself. She had traveled to broken moons, burnt worlds, and forgotten ruins that once belonged to alien empires, but none of that prepared her for what they found on Erebus IV, a planet buried in black storms and silence. The research vessel UNS Aquila hovered above the surface like a patient shadow. From orbit, the planet looked dead, its continents cracked like old bone, but sensors picked up strange energy pulses deep under the crust, the kind that didn't follow any known natural pattern. Alina stood on the viewing deck watching the swirling clouds through reinforced glass. Her reflection looked tired, brown skin pale under the ship's soft lights, hair tied back, eyes dark with sleepless curiosity. Her assistant, Lieutenant Orrin Vale, joined her with a datapad in hand. Dr. Serrano, the excavation team, just confirmed it. They found the core chamber. She turned to him. And the artifact? Orrin swallowed. Still active. Alina felt her heart beat faster. After 30,000 years. Still glowing, he said. Captain wants you there personally. She smiled faintly. Of course he does. The Discovery. The descent pod cut through the storm like a falling star. Lightning flashed against the hull, but the crew inside barely noticed, each one glued to their instruments. Alina stood between two security officers, her gloved hands clasped tight. When the pod landed with a heavy thud, the doors opened to reveal a vast underground cavern, metallic, not natural. The walls were smooth, polished like mirrors. Lines of light ran through the metal, pulsing like veins. At the center stood the artifact. It floated above a circular platform, humming softly. A structure of crystal and shifting light, its shape impossible to define. It seemed to move even when standing still, folding in and out of itself. Beautiful, Alina whispered, stepping closer. Captain Jared Mason, tall and broad with a voice like gravel, gave her a warning look. Keep your distance until we get readings. But Alina couldn't help herself. She circled the device slowly, eyes wide. It's alive. Orrin frowned. Alive? Not biologically, she said. But it reacts. Look. She pointed to a faint shimmer that followed her hand's movement, like the artifact was watching her. The tech officer called out, Energy output is stable, but weird, it's not leaking radiation or heat. It's broadcasting. To where? Mason asked. No idea, sir. Alina approached the platform and touched one of the consoles embedded in the floor. The symbols glowed faintly. Alien script she recognized from Zyrel ruins. Her voice dropped. This is Zyrel technology. Mason crossed his arms. You're sure? 100%, she said. And that's impossible. The Zyrel Dominion was wiped out before humans even had electricity. The captain grunted. Then why is their toy still running? Alina looked up at the crystal device, now pulsing in slow rhythm. Because it's waiting for something. The warning hours later, the excavation site turned into a full research zone. Drones floated around scanning every inch while soldiers guarded the perimeter. The air smelled of metal and ozone. Inside the temporary lab, Alina worked tirelessly, surrounded by glowing monitors. She deciphered alien patterns, translating them piece by piece. The artifact seemed to be part of something bigger, a test or gateway. Orrin brought her coffee, looking uneasy. You've been at it for 10 hours. I can't stop, she said without looking up. I think I'm starting to understand its structure. He hesitated. Ma'am, about the Zyrel. You know the stories. Every species that tried to activate their relics died. She finished for him. Yes, I know. But those were brute force attempts. No understanding. No care, he nodded slowly. Still, maybe some things are meant to stay buried. Alina smiled, tired but sharp. That's what people said about flight, medicine, and space travel. Curiosity is what makes us human. Captain Mason entered the tent just then, his uniform dusty. Doctor, the council sent a message. They're authorizing full containment of the artifact. You'll have to stop direct testing, Alina froze. Containment. You can't be serious. We're on the edge of discovery. Command thinks it's too dangerous, Mason said. And honestly, I agree. She stood up, frustration flashing across her face. Do you know what this means, Captain? The Zyrel called this device the Bridge of Endurance. It's not a weapon, it's a trial. They built it to measure life itself. Or destroy it, Mason said. Maybe both, she whispered. The first test that night, when most of the crew slept, Alina stayed behind in the chamber. The artifact still floated silently, glowing faint blue. The air felt thick, almost alive with electricity. She connected her wrist console and began a data link. "Computer," she whispered. "Begin translation protocol." "Protocol active," the console said softly. Lines of alien symbols appeared on her screen, translating slowly. She could feel the pulse of the artifact through the floor like a heartbeat. One symbol blinked brighter than the rest. A single word appeared in English. "Ready." Her breath caught. Ready for what? The artifact pulsed again, stronger this time. Lights danced across its surface. It was responding to her voice. Alina reached out slowly, carefully, fingers trembling. The others had said no creature could endure direct contact. But she couldn't walk away. Not now. Her fingertips brushed the crystal surface. A surge of light exploded across the chamber. The machine screamed with overload warnings. Energy waves rippled through the air, knocking over tools and tables. Alina gasped as her vision filled with blinding color. Every nerve in her body caught fire, but she couldn't move, couldn't scream. Her mind was flooded with images. Stars collapsing, cities floating, alien voices whispering in languages she shouldn't understand. She saw the Zyral themselves, towering, luminous beings, failing, dying, fading into dust. Then came silence. Her body hit the floor. Monitors flatlined for a moment, then suddenly flared back to life. Captain Mason burst into the chamber with soldiers and medics. "Get her out of there." Oren knelt beside her. "She's breathing." Her eyes fluttered open, glowing faintly with blue light. "Don't touch it," she whispered. "It's communicating." The artifact hovered quietly again, its glow dimmed as if satisfied. The aftermath hours later, Alina lay in the ship's med bay, hooked up to every monitor available. The doctor's readings made no sense. Her body temperature slightly above normal, her neural activity 10 times higher than average. When she finally woke, Mason was sitting beside her. He leaned forward. "You almost died, Doctor. The Council's going to lose their minds," she smiled weakly. "But I didn't. You were clinically dead for 30 seconds. I was somewhere else," she said softly. "I saw their history. The Zirel. They built the artifact as a test, to find who could endure transformation." "Transformation into what?" "I don't know yet," she said. "But it wasn't designed to destroy. It was waiting for something or someone strong enough to survive." Mason rubbed his temples. "Every other species that tried touching those things was vaporized." "I know," she said. "But it didn't kill me. It adapted to me." He stared at her, frowning. "You're saying it changed itself?" She shook her head slowly. "No, Captain. I think I changed." Strange changes. In the following days, Alina's condition became even stranger. She could sense electrical signals without instruments, predict power surges seconds before they happened. Her eyes sometimes glowed faintly when she focused. During a medical test, the doctor dropped a sterilizer device. Before it hit the ground, Alina's hand shot out and caught it, reflexes faster than any human baseline. Mason confronted her later. "What's happening to you?" She looked down at her hands. "The artifact rewrote something inside me. I can feel it." "That's not reassuring," she smiled sadly. "Neither was the first human fire. But it changed everything too." The artifact, now contained behind energy barriers, still pulsed faintly in its chamber. Every time Alina walked by, it glowed brighter, as if recognizing her. The Council's fear. A week later, the Galactic Council sent a direct transmission to the Aquila. The holographic projection filled the ship's main briefing room. Dozens of alien ambassadors, faces full of suspicion and fear. The lead delegate, a silver-skinned Velari, spoke first. "Dr. Serrano's survival is impossible. The Zyral devices are lethal to all known life forms. What happened aboard your ship violates biological law," Mason replied firmly. "Nevertheless, it happened." The Velari's eyes narrowed. "That artifact must be destroyed." Alina stepped forward. "Destroying it won't change what it did. It tested me and I passed." Murmurs filled the chamber. The delegate hissed, "No creature could endure that technology." Unless you're human," Alina said quietly. Silence followed. Even through hologram static, the tension was sharp. Mason finally spoke. "She's right. Maybe the Zyral didn't fail. Maybe they built their test for whoever could survive it. And humanity just did." The new beginning that night, Alina stood alone in the observation deck again, staring at the stars. Her reflection looked different now, eyes brighter, posture calm but alert. The universe outside seemed more alive than ever before. Oren joined her silently. "You think it'll happen again?" She nodded. "I think this was only the first test." He shivered. "And you're not scared?" She smiled softly. "Of course I am. But fear's just another test, too." Below them, deep within the ship, the Zyral artifact pulsed once, like a heartbeat matching her own. Days had passed since Dr. Alina Serrano survived the Zyral artifact's first trial. The entire crew of the UN's Aquila still couldn't fully comprehend what had happened. Medics, scientists, and even Captain Mason's security detail whispered about it in corners, eyes wide in awe and fear. She had changed, but no one could describe exactly how. Alina, meanwhile, had begun to notice subtle shifts in herself, not just the glowing eyes or faster reflexes, but thoughts, feelings, and senses that seemed expanded. Electrical currents in the ship's systems felt like rivers she could touch. Computers, even the alien consoles, obeyed her unintentionally. It was as if the artifact had given her a connection to the world that no human or alien should have. Yet it wasn't just a gift. It was a test, and she could feel that test growing. The Council's warning. The day started with a holographic summons from the Galactic Council, broadcast directly into the ship's main deck. Alien representatives from across human-colonized space filled the room. Silver-skinned Velari, winged Zorathians, and crystalline Lintari stared at Alina as if she were a dangerous creature. The lead delegate, a tall Velari named Celis, spoke first. "Dr. Serrano, your survival violates every known law of biology. You were not meant to endure the Zyral artifact. This is unacceptable. The Council demands the artifact be neutralized immediately." Alina met his gaze steadily. "Destroying it changes nothing. The artifact didn't harm me. It connected with me. I didn't pass by luck. It chose me." Celis's eyes narrowed. "Then you must be contained. For the safety of all sentient species." Captain Mason stepped forward. "She's not a threat. She survived what every other species failed. Maybe that proves humanity's value. Maybe she's the first to pass a test the Zyrals created to find, well, something far beyond us." The Alien Council erupted into debate, voices clashing in strange tones and unfamiliar cadences. Alina felt it all like a distant hum, though she understood each intention, each undercurrent. She realized her mind had begun to interpret alien thought patterns almost instinctively. The second trial. Despite the Council's objections, Alina convinced Mason to let her try another controlled interaction with the artifact. The goal was simple: understand its purpose and possibly unlock what the Zyrals intended when they created it. Security cleared the chamber. Medics, scientists, and Oren were present. Alina stepped forward, steady and unafraid. She felt the artifact pulse as if it remembered her touch. A faint glow surrounded her, warm and vibrating. "Begin," she whispered. The artifact flared brighter than ever. Light wrapped around her body, not painfully this time, but like a river of energy flowing over her skin. Her nervous system tingled as if every neuron had awakened simultaneously. Images filled her mind. Galaxies forming, dying stars, alien cities rising and falling. But this time she wasn't paralyzed. She moved within the energy. Every heartbeat, every thought aligned with it. She realized the artifact wasn't attacking. It was testing endurance, focus, willpower. Adapt, survive. Transcend, a voice echoed. Not in sound, but in meaning. Alina understood instantly. The Zyrals weren't cruel. They were searching for a species capable of transformation. A species whose mind and body could survive what no other life form could. Her body surged with energy. The medics shouted alarms, but their machines registered nothing unusual. The artifact's energy didn't harm her. Instead, it merged with her nervous system, rewriting pathways, strengthening reflexes, and enhancing perception. When the light finally dimmed, Alina stood trembling, but alive. Her senses were sharper, her mind faster. Oren stared in disbelief. How did you—" "I endured it," she said simply. "I passed the second trial." The artifact pulsed once more, faintly, as if acknowledging her achievement. Somewhere deep inside, Alina could feel it thinking, or at least something thinking through her. Unexpected changes, in the days that followed, Alina noticed even stranger abilities. She could sense the flow of the ship's systems. If a power line overloaded, she knew seconds before it happened. She could read alien symbols without translation, almost intuitively. Even her physical capabilities improved. Oren tried to spar with her, half joking, half testing. His punches came fast, but Alina moved faster, catching his arm effortlessly. Not because she was stronger, but because she could anticipate the movement. One evening, she wandered the lower decks alone. A small electrical spark leapt from a console, small, harmless. But Alina reached out instinctively, absorbing the energy into her fingertips. The spark danced harmlessly across her skin and vanished. She murmured to herself, "I can feel energy. Life. Like it's part of me." That night she dreamed in color and sound she had never known. Stars, suns, and alien ruins flowed through her mind. And at the center, the Zerels themselves appeared. Not alive, not dead, but somehow present in the artifact's memory. They watched. Alien doubt word of her survival reached the council again. Another transmission arrived, more tense this time. The alien delegates spoke in alarm and frustration. Silas's voice was sharp. "This is impossible. No species could survive even one trial. And now she survived too. Humanity cannot be trusted with this technology. Perhaps she should be studied," a crystalline Lintari suggested, "or used to locate other Zyril artifacts." "That is dangerous," Silas snapped. "The Zyril tests are lethal to all other life. And yet she thrives." Alina listened quietly. For the first time, she understood how humans were seen across the galaxy. Fragile, short-lived, unpredictable, yet capable of something else entirely. Something others could not. Her own mind reflected on this. Humanity survived extreme climates, harsh worlds, endless cosmic dangers, and yet persisted. The Zerels had underestimated that. They had assumed physical strength or longevity mattered. But it was endurance, adaptability, and willpower, the essence of humans, that passed the test. The Council's ultimatum. The Council's message was clear. Either Alina relinquished control of the artifact, or the Council would intervene with military force. Ships capable of destroying planets were now in orbit. Captain Mason looked at Alina, concern etched on his face. "They're not bluffing. They can destroy the ship. Or the planet." Alina shook her head. "They don't understand. The artifact isn't a weapon. It's a key. They're scared because it chooses who can use it. And I'm the first." Oren's voice trembled. "So what do we do?" She clenched her fists. "We survive. We understand. And if they attack, we show them humans aren't fragile. We endure, we adapt, and we win." A new ability that night, alone in the observation deck, Alina tested another ability. She focused on a distant star. Slowly, with an effort she barely understood, she sensed its energy. Its light, its heat, its radiation. It was alive to her mind, like a pulse she could touch. It frightened her. It thrilled her. The universe was no longer separate from her. She could feel energy flowing, patterns forming, structures building, everything interconnected. Oren walked in silently. "Alina, are you okay?" She turned. "Better than okay, I think. I can see the threads of life itself." He looked at her, unease in his eyes. "Threads? What?" "Energy flows," she said. "Every system, every being, every star. Connected." The artifact opened my mind to it. "And I think I can survive it all." Oren swallowed hard. "And the Council?" "They don't understand," she said quietly. "But they will. Soon." The test expands days later. A second artifact signal activated. One deeper in Zerel territory, light years away. Alina felt it instantly, like a tug on her consciousness. The Zyrel relics were networked. She could feel their pulse, faint but insistent. Captain Mason watched as she stared at the main screen, blue light reflecting in her eyes. "You're sensing it?" "Yes," she whispered. "Another trial. Another test. It's calling. For someone." "For me?" Oren stepped closer, worry plain on his face. "Another trial? Are you insane?" Alina shook her head. "No. This is what humans were meant to do. Survive, endure, adapt. Others fail. We don't." The stars outside seemed to pulse in response, and the artifact back in the chamber glowed faintly, as if confirming her words. The next stage had begun, and Alina Serrano, human survivor pioneer, was ready. The stars outside the UNS Aquila glimmered like scattered diamonds against the black void. For Dr. Alina Serrano, they no longer seemed distant. She could feel their energy, their rhythm, their hidden patterns. Humanity had survived the Zirel artifact's trials, but now the true challenge awaited. A second pulse from the Zirel network had reached her, stronger than the first. Unlike the first, this pulse was not contained to one relic. It spanned an entire region of space, hundreds of light-years wide. Somewhere within that vast area lay the core of the Zirel technology, a place no human or alien had ever reached. Captain Jared Mason stood behind her on the observation deck, arms crossed, eyes uneasy. "Alina, you feel it, don't you?" She nodded, eyes fixed on the glowing map projected before her. Yes, the zeros left a pattern, coordinates. They were waiting for someone to follow it. And that someone is me, or humans. Oren, her ever-loyal assistant, whispered, "Do you really think we can survive whatever's out there?" Alina smiled faintly. "We already have. Humans endure, we adapt, we survive where others fail." Mason shook his head, both worried and awed. "This is bigger than anything we've ever faced." She turned to him, blue light glimmering in her eyes. "Then it's time humanity proves why we exist. Journey through the unknown." The Aquila left Zirel space behind, entering a stretch of dark, uncharted regions. Nebulas glowed faintly on the sensors and radiation spikes appeared unpredictably. Most species would have turned back long ago. Alina, however, could sense the energy fields, feel them like currents in a river. She guided the ship, predicting turbulence, radiation, and gravitational anomalies with startling precision. It was as if the artifact had expanded her senses beyond human limits. Days passed in tense silence, broken only by Oren's occasional murmurs. "How do you even know this path is safe?" Alina's fingers hovered over the controls, responding almost before the ship's systems registered her commands. "I can feel the currents. Every star, every planet, every relic, it's connected. The Zirels left a trail. It's a path through danger that only someone human could survive." The Zirel core world, finally, they arrived. The planet below was nothing but blackened rock, surrounded by energy storms that twisted like serpents in space. Massive ruins sprawled across its surface, monolithic structures taller than mountains pulsing faintly with residual energy. "This place," Oren whispered. "It's dead," Alina shook her head. "It's not dead, just waiting for the one strong enough to endure the Zirel test." The ship descended, and the energy fields licked its hull like fingers of fire. Alina's hand pressed against the console instinctively, calming the currents around them. The artifact's energy in her mind resonated with the planetary field. She realized with awe that the Zirels had built a system of trials across their worlds, tests designed not to destroy life, but to choose the right species. The airlock opened. Alina stepped onto the planet's surface, feeling the hum of energy beneath her feet. Every step pulsed in rhythm with her heart. Captain Mason and Oren followed, armed but cautious, their eyes scanning the ruins. The final trial, at the planet's center, lay a colossal chamber. Inside, dozens of artifact platforms floated, identical to the one Alina had survived. They formed a perfect circle around a central pedestal. When she approached, the artifacts activated, bathing the room in blinding light. Alina could feel the Zirel consciousness within them, millennia of knowledge, encoded in energy, waiting for her. The voice or thought was everywhere at once. Only the one who can endure may awaken the legacy. She took a deep breath and stepped onto the central pedestal. The artifact's energy flowed into her, more powerful than anything she had experienced. It tested every nerve, every thought, every fiber of her being. Pain seared her body, but unlike before, she didn't resist. It didn't fight her. Instead, she adapted, her mind and body syncing with the energy currents. Colors beyond sight flashed across her consciousness. She saw the Zirels, proud and majestic, failing again and again, until she arrived. Her mind expanded to encompass the ruins, the planet, the entire network of Zirel relics. She felt what they had intended, the transformation of consciousness into pure energy, merging life with the universe itself. She realized something incredible. The Zirels had failed because their bodies could not endure the process. Humans, with their unpredictable biology and adaptable minds, could. The power of humanity. The energy surged into her completely. Alina saw the past, present, and possible futures in a single moment. She felt every human alive on her homeworld, connected, resilient, enduring. She understood the secret of humanity. Survival was more than strength or intelligence. It was adaptability, creativity, and will. When she returned consciousness to her body, she was no longer just human. The relics hummed in harmony with her. Energy radiated from her in waves, visible and tangible. Captain Mason stared, awestruck. What happened? He whispered. Alina smiled softly. We endured. That's what happened. Humanity passed the Zerel test where others failed. And now, we hold their legacy. Orin shook his head, words failing him. This changes everything. Yes, Alina said. Not just for humans, but for the galaxy. The Zerel left their knowledge waiting for someone capable, someone who could survive the impossible. That someone is us. Galactic aweback on the UNS Aquila. The news of Alina's survival and transformation spread faster than light. Alien species that had once doubted humans now watched in amazement. The Zyrel technology, thought lethal to all, had chosen humanity as worthy of its legacy. The Galactic Council called for a meeting. Salis, the Velari delegate, addressed the representatives. The humans survived what no other life form could. They have unlocked the Zyrel secrets. Their endurance, it is unmatched. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the phrase whispered across countless systems, humans endure what others cannot. Alina stood on the observation deck once more, looking at the stars. She could feel their energy, the threads of life stretching across space. And somewhere deep within, the Zyrel legacy hummed, waiting to be understood, shared, and expanded. A new beginning. Weeks later, the UNS Aquila returned to human space. Alina's body and mind had changed, but she retained her humanity. She was stronger, faster, and aware of energy flows humans had never imagined. She had survived the impossible. Captain Mason approached her. What now? Alina looked at the stars beyond. Now, we explore, we learn, and we prove to the universe why humans endure. The Zerel left their trials, but we passed them. And this is only the beginning. Orin joined her, awestruck. Do you think humans are ready for what comes next? She smiled, eyes shining. We already are. We endured what no one else could. That's proof enough. In the distance, Zyrel relics across the galaxy began to hum, faintly at first, then louder. The test had not ended, it had only just begun. And humanity, unpredictable, adaptable, enduring humanity, was ready to meet it. The universe had a new pulse now. It was the pulse of a species that could survive the impossible,